The Ripple moment, it's here. The future of money, it's being rewritten in real time. Stablecoins, these aren't experiments any longer. They are outpacing sovereign nations, underwriting US debt, and threatening to topple a very fragile banking sector. Now, Ripple's RLUSD, it just may be the weapon of choice that truly changes the rules of this game. At the same time, a Wall Street insider just called XRP a relic, blind to the regulatory clarity, Ripple's new banking licenses, and global partnerships that just keep lining up. Yet, behind closed doors, Ripple, they sat at the same table with the heads of Cardano, Chainlink, Solana, plotting a multi-chain shift that could shake the foundations of blockchain and actually finance. Markets are prime. Powell, he just cracked the door wide open for liquidity to return to this space. Altcoins, they're firing. And ETFs, they're lining up. It's coming quick here. Some say Ethereum, Solana, and SWI will lead this cycle, but we're going to talk about something different here. Maybe there's one coin they're forgetting. Meanwhile, Tom Lee warns that, Bitcoin, it may crown the next Exxon. I think it may crown the next Exxon Valdez. We'll talk about it. This isn't just another bull run. This is the battle for the future of finance itself. And Ripple and XRP, everything is lining up perfectly here. Let's take a look at this. I was reading through a report that was put out by Goldman Sachs. And we saw Brian Brooks. He's being interviewed here, and he's talking about stablecoins and the Treasury demand, how important this is, noting that stablecoins massively boost Treasury demand. Every new dollar minted equals more Treasuries purchased. This is a big, advantage. Why you see the government jumping in here supporting this technology, a big part of it here. But he also brought up the vulnerabilities, and we saw that Circle. They had $3 billion in SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, deposited, and it created a lot of risk. SVB went under, and then it's like, oh no, is that going to take Circle under? Ripple had a lot of money on that bank as well, not enough to take them out. But, this is a problem here, and I think Ripple's got the solution. This is why RLUSD could flip the script with reserves directly at the Fed. Literally no risk there. The Fed ain't going to go out of business, and if they do, then no dollars are safe, right? This is a truly, stablecoin that you can have trust in, and that's a game changer here. Now, one of the things Brian Brooks says, maybe instead of having like Circle have their limits for insurance there, maybe we push that onto the users, 250,000 per user, instead of having that at the Circle level. That might solve some problems, but I don't think enough. I think we need something more here, and Ripple's got the answer. If you get to have that direct Fed access, forget about it. That takes this space to the next level. And again, it's piping TradFi, our current system, directly onto the blockchain, and that's what matters because it's going to boost everything you do online. It's going to make the transition of value on and off the chain easier, and you're going to see XRP become wildly more valuable if that happens here. Now, this Mark Yusko with Morgan Creek Capital here, he was going after in this interview, once again, XRP, saying, well, the market capitalization is misleading because Ripple has all these coins and they just sit there and they're not really circulating. They're just in escrow. And he says there's a lack of decentralization and weak adoption metrics. And he called XRP a relic. Well, he's quite ridiculous here. First of all, those coins in escrow, maybe they should, but they don't count in XRP's market cap at all. They are disregarded until they come out of the escrow. So he's full of it there. He said, there's a billion or two in daily volume. First of all, that would be not nothing. That'd be big, but it's closer to 6 billion right now in daily volume for XRP. He said, there's 1,000 people that are just trading a few coins back and forth. He is just totally making up FUD to try to attack XRP. Why is it? Is it because he doesn't have any exposure to it? They don't have a fund? I don't know. But the things he was saying was ridiculous. He's ignoring the shift that's happened, the fact that XRP itself has clarity, that is gaining adoption, that you have $1 billion company using it for a real purpose and more coming online, a whole ecosystem building out. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It's fine to criticize a blockchain. None of them are perfect, but, we have to be grounded in reality here. And Mark, he's off in another universe. I don't know what he's talking about here. Now, we saw this meeting went down between Charles Hoskinson, Brad Garlinghouse, the head of Chainlink, Solana, near one of my favorite blockchains out there, and Talking about Cardano's Midnight. Hoskins revealed that Cardano's Midnight privacy chain is moving forward rapidly, addressing a critical need in the blockchain space. We need to have privacy, but of course, we need to be compliant with laws and things like that. And he says there's conversations with Ripple that could lead to significant collaboration with Cardano's Lace wallet adding XRP support by year end. This is a multi chain future. All these chains have different abilities and strengths and weaknesses. And, stretching them all together is really how we get to that next gen financial system where each of them are interoperable and leverage each other's strengths. So this is important to see them collaborating, kind of figuring out how they could work together. And this could lead to some very significant advancements as we go forward here. Now, this is really the perfect setup here, 2025 for XRP. First of all, nothing else needs to happen. All that needs to happen is, well, this crypto cycle continues. And I think it will now that Chair Powell said they're going to loosen financial conditions. Liquidity is going to come back into the market. You're going to see this space, rip. You saw Ethereum go to new all-time highs, XRP back above $3, Bitcoin doing well. Yeah, it's ping-ponging around a bit, but you can see it's trending back up. People are excited. That's all we need. We're going to set new all-time highs. But we know what's going to happen. Before year end, we're going to get an ETF approved. And that's going to bring billions of dollars to this asset in daily volume, additional on top of everything, marking, go to hell with his 1 billion a day. Just wait till you see what happens once we mix ETFs in the mix here. Ripple could get their banking license. Again, I've said I think it probably happens next year, but things are going to go nuclear if it happens this year. And I think if that does happen, you'll see RLUSD really start picking up the pace on Circle and some of these other competitors. You'll see it become, a next level that your institutions, they probably already see it as a safe bet, but it's really going to leverage things up another couple notches. XRP Ledger apps, we're going to see a lot of this, and I can't wait. I still say Robinhood here quickly is going to announce a derivatives exchange on top of the XRP ledger. I think there will be other big ones. I think BlackRock is going to announce something as well. We've already seen they've been building on Ethereum and other blockchains. Now that XRP has true finality in that court case, well, really Ripple, but by extension XRP, they withdrew the appeals. Everything is final. I think now you're going to see BlackRock move in here. But if not, you're going to see others. Plus, just independent developers are doing big things. We see the Zhao DAO, where they are leveraging the EVM sidechain, the XRP ledger, and just really building some next level capabilities, NFT technology that you couldn't before. And you're going to see more of that. That's really the canary in the coal mine. You're going to see a lot more applications for the everyday person to use. And now we're also in this post SEC freedom, where I think you'll see announcements of Ripple partnerships and maybe at least one more big acquisition, maybe the biggest of all. We will see. All of this stuff could happen, but none of it needs to. None of it has to happen. We're already set perfectly. We are going to march to new significant all-time highs. Not arguing, was it really 380 before? No, 360 is the new all-time high. Like, it ain't going to matter. Forget about it. We are setting real new all-time highs this bull run. And if we get some of these tack-ons here, it's going to be ridiculous. Now, stablecoins, really the new financial powerhouse here, hold nearly 200 billion in U.S. Treasuries, more currently than Germany, South Korea, Saudi Arabia. And this just isn't growth. It represents private digital dollar financing U.S. debt on a larger scale than a lot of sovereign nations, and it's just going to continue to go up that list. It's going to become more and more important, be bigger holders of U.S. Treasuries. This is really a global system that is bigger than any one single sovereign nation. It's going to be a big buyer of U.S. debt, and again, that's why you see the U.S. become more supportive of this technology, because there's something in it for them. Now, Tom Lee, this quote is put up there wrong, but he's saying, look, Bitcoin, it's the new oil. And if that's the case, strategy is the next Exxon. This kind of stuff drives me wild because it's just common sense. This is going to blow up, and Tom's saying, oh, I didn't know, and everyone else is going to go, we were fooled. Like, you can't just take infinity debt. I keep harping on this, but I see stuff like this. No, Bitcoin's oil, then really strategy is Exxon Valdez, the biggest disaster looming here that we have seen in this space. You can't just take out debt, gamble on, very volatile assets and hope that the price continues to go up. You're going to run into a buzzsaw eventually, and this thing's going to crater. And it just irritates me that it's so clear to see, but no one will call it out for what it is. I'm not saying don't use any debt in a business, but you have to have an underlying business to service that debt. And gambling is not an appropriate use case. And the big problem is this: we're going to take it as crypto investors and enthusiasts. They're going to say we're a scam. Well, to some extent, because if it helps push the price, we don't call out the obvious that this is ridiculous. That strategy is no strategy. It is simply gambling. And, whether it's CNBC, Bloomberg, no one can just look at this and say, this is stupid. And it drives me nuts. This is going to be the next FTX. This is going to be the next, the Mashinsky 2.0, you name it. This is just so infuriating. And it'll work just like those things did until it doesn't. And then everyone will go, golly shucks, we never knew. Of course you knew. You'd have to be an idiot not to know. Wall Street versus crypto. This is interesting. Wall Street, they're starting to feel threatened here. And the banking position here, they are putting together a group to fund and try to fight off the GOP proposals favoring cryptocurrencies. That's how this country works. You put your money to work, see if you can buy people off. They're concerned about deposits fleeing into tokenized assets. So, maybe you take your money out of Bank of America or Wells Fargo and you put it in an RLUSD, for instance, where it's backed by the Fed and the bank can't go under and you don't have any risk. Like, that's going to be really popular. And so they're pushing Congress to roll back recent crypto progress. But the crypto side, they're getting more money, more power. And this is the thing. I mean, tech always wins, right? Because they had the most money. These banks, that's old school. They got some money, but as tech continues to scale, I mean, good gosh, what happens when XRP hits $10? What is Ripple's $45 billion worth of XRP going to be worth? And just so on and so forth. Tech just scales and outscales everyone and they outspend. And so they're going to be spending big money in the midterms here. Hundreds of millions of dollars on both sides of it, too. This is not a Republican thing. They will be definitely, if you're pro-crypto and you're a Democrat, you're getting money and lots of it, you best believe. They're already won to some extent with the Genius Act, giving stablecoins legal ground. It's just going to keep expanding here. And they're building political capital for favors. Ripple being one of the big funders of that, Coinbase, Circle, you name it. They're going to put together a war chest like you could not believe. And at the end, banking, they're not going to win this. They're going to have to integrate this technology into what they do, and it'll probably cost them some of their bottom line eventually. They can kind of slow us down a bit, but they ain't going to stop this train, that's for sure. The future of crypto adoption curves and market dynamics, really what we've seen with Powell hinting at rate cuts and, more importantly, looser financial conditions. You saw what the market has done. Ethereum smashed its 2021 all-time high, surging past 4,885. A lot of people seem surprised by that. I don't know what to say. That was always going to happen. It's going to go on a big run. You best believe it. But even if you don't have any Ether, it doesn't matter because this is what the signal tells us. Now is the moment. Now is the time. This alt season that you always hear about it. Alt season's coming. Alt season's coming. And it never is. Well, it is now. Trust, it is on its way. It is here. You saw 120 million in shorts liquidated in an hour. Ethereum doubled in 2 months, outpacing Bitcoin. We see what Raul Paul is saying the following. He says, well, if Ethereum outpaces Bitcoin, which it will, Sol's going to beat Ethereum. Probably. Sui's going to outperform Sol. I believe he's probably moved most of his Sol money into Sui already. If it's not, he will pivot eventually. Probably agree with that. Fine. Where does XRP fit in this list? I think that XRP will beat everything but Sui in terms of return. I don't think Ethereum's going to beat XRP. Sol's a little bit farther down the list, has a little more room to grow, but I think XRP from a percentage of growth beats everything but Sui. But there will be another bear market. People always say, oh, it's not going to happen. It always happens. There's always ups and downs. XRP is going to be much more stable in a bear market than Sui because Sui is just new and it's gaining traction. It's gaining adoption. And you saw that with Sol, right? Like last run, it went up quite high and then it fell to number 17. Like you're going to see something similar this time around out of Sui as well. But that's my take on it. I think XRP beats Sol, Ethereum, and Bitcoin in terms of percentage of growth here, even from now to the top. And I think Sui probably beats it all, but has a lot more downside, so you always manage your risk. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.